Hi, this is Steve from Kony. Kony MobileFabric has one of, if not the best integration capabilities with SAP Business Suite. Our certified add-on inside SAP approach lets us integrate to a deeper level with SAP's business processes and effectively enables you to manage and protect the SAP system from transaction flooding, conflicts, etc. Let's take a quick look at the architecture and key features. First of all, our ABAP add-on provides a comprehensive RESTful service interface, so gets, puts, patches, etc., and it enables you to deal with complex objects over and above the restrictions of OData, which we support as well. The integration management is all inside of SAP, so it's plugged into the event-driven processing of NetWeaver and all the SAP subsystems and business processes. It provides a more sophisticated load balancing and scaling architecture so that you can have synchronized queues, priorities, you can basically flatten out the peaks of transaction processing using asynchronous processing as well. Security is a high premium here. We provide SSO, SAP SSO integration, as well as a deeper level of integration into the SAP security subsystem inside of SAP. The great thing about this is you can reuse all your existing SAP skills from basis, ABAP developers through to your functional guys, and they'll adopt and use this right away. It looks and feels exactly like a SAP subsystem. Asynchronous controls and event-driven push are one of the key differentiators here, so that on SAP events inside of SAP, you can push out requests to your mobile devices and data profile them to various people or device levels, etc. Overall, it's more of an inside-out approach using the SAP architecture effectively rather than having servers outside of SAP just tossing transactions over the wall into SAP and hope that they work. The Kony mobility platform has three basic layers, so we'll be talking mostly about Kony MobileFabric, which is the MBOSS or middleware layer that handles all the integration, identity management, analytics, etc. But it also provides a comprehensive suite of mobile front-end tools from UX UI design all the way through to development across all the channels you would expect. You know, Apple, Android, Windows, HTML5, JavaScript development, etc. The interesting thing about what we're talking about today is effectively the RESTful service interface can also be consumed by third-party tools such as jQuery, PhoneGap, Cordova-based apps as well. So I'm not going to go through all of this, but Kony MobileFabric is more than just a basic middleware layer. It handles what we call object services through to the device, synchronizing data. It has various back-end services from user identity, orchestration, IoT kind of bot frameworks as well. And it has a whole API management layer. So the basic context here is once we've defined the services in SAP, we expose them to the outside world and to the various mobile platforms using MobileFabric. It has a very high management and security layer, which is essential for enterprise-grade apps. From MobileFabric, it has a comprehensive suite of add-ons which you import into your SAP environment, which provide all the RESTful services, the interface management capabilities, event-driven profiling, performance management we spoke about is essential to protect your SAP from transaction storms, etc. We also provide standard add-ons to mobilize key SAP areas of functionality like CRM, enterprise asset management, HR, HCM, supply chain, manufacturing, shipping and logistics, etc. And of course, you can build your own integration layers using our tooling. So not only does the add-on kind of provide the low-level integration capabilities, it also provides a full workbench where you define these things inside of SAP. So this platform, these add-ons have been certified for over a decade and have been proven out there processing millions of transactions a day. The Kony MobileFabric layer can be run either in the cloud or on-premise or a hybrid of both. It also provides the capability for OData integration through the standard SAP NetWeaver gateway. You can even go down a notch to, the RFC JCO style calls, BAPI calls if you want to. But we also provide this more comprehensive RESTful layer. The difference being the RESTful layer can handle complex objects, and a lot of SAP data is complicated. You may have 14 tables that comprise an object and also making up binary objects, media, pictures, video, etc. as part of that business data. So that requires our access gateway to be implemented, which also acts as a reverse security proxy and handles the SSO, SAP tokens, etc. So Kony MobileFabric has 3 layers of integration, but we prefer, of course, our RESTful service interface, which is a lot more powerful, can handle lots of volumes and more complex data. What I want to do now is change gears. I just want to flip across to a real live SAP system and show you some of the functionality that I'm talking about. So here we are on traditional SAP GUI, what most people are still using these days. And I'll just go and show you what we call data objects. This workbench is provided as part of the add-on, and what it enables you to effectively do is define objects of data. So here we're looking at enterprise asset management. I'm just going to go down here to work orders, and if I expand those out, it would have everything you expect under a work order. You have your header information, you have your operations, and a whole lot of asset information, addresses, attachments associated with that, etc. So this tool allows you to design what data is going to be integrated through your standard REST services. And it is pretty much a simple case of designing, using the SAP dictionary, pulling in what tables, creating your own custom views of that if you want to, and extended views. And then you basically define all the relationships between these various tables and structures that you want to return data with. Alongside that, you also define how that data is to be accessed, whether it's via standard SAP processes like BAPIs, or whether it's straight kind of ABAP SQL extensions to read tables, etc. Now from here, once you've defined your data object, you can also define your profiling rules. Again, I'm not going to go through all of this. I mean, it may be pretty hard to read on this video, but essentially here is all your dynamic profiling selection criteria. So based on the user who's logged on, what data do they get? What rules do you apply to filter that data? And the same applies when you upload data into SAP. So when you update a transaction or an object, who gets notified that it's changed? All of that sort of stuff. So data profiling is an integral part of this, and then once we've defined our data object, we can dynamically build the RESTful services. I'm not going to do that now, but I'll skip straight into the REST services that are associated with our work order object here. And this is what we call an integration object. So this, you can define all sorts of rules with SAP security, with CRUD methods, all your, you define all your get, post, patch, put, delete type, whether it's supported or not, and also what processing to perform. Now this is a whole other subject for a whole another day, but essentially you've got a lot of control here, and this then generates the ABAP proxy that is going to be consumed by the RESTful call. So once I've built this dynamically, we've got a little tool to kind of test it. So I'm going to go in here, I'm going to associate it with a user within our system. Just bear with me here. And what I'm doing here is just generating what's called a session key, which is what the mobile device will be using to access data consistently. So here I'm just going to do a simple get, of our work orders. This may take a little while because there's a lot of work orders in this test system, but let's see how we go. But this will return just a standard set of XML. There we go. So over here we've got our, our work order header with all our attributes, and then nested underneath that, if I go through all those attributes quickly, we'll have our data object children, like statuses, operation information, etc., etc., etc. So this service is now exposed through our gateway. And what that means is you could use anything like SOAP UI, you could use jQuery, not only our own Kony MobileFabric, but it's open to anything that supports a RESTful interface. So it is literally as simple as that. You define your data object back here, and you then generate your RESTful services off that, your data profiling rules. And then what we can also define, I'm not going to go through in detail, we haven't got enough time in this video, the interfaces that get triggered when that data object gets updated in SAP. And we've got a whole subsystem around interface management. I'm going to quickly branch into that. Let's just see what has been processed for in the next couple of days. And this here, you can see these are all our different interfaces that get triggered upon those data objects being updated. So down here we've got EAM notification conversions to work order, we've got notification creations, got work order creations, etc., etc., etc. So work order update down here. So what I can do is drill into these. And here you can see every single transaction that ran. You can see this one that failed. So we can come down into this one. We can look at the log and see the reason why. And this could be a whole lot of reasons. See, it's calling a BAPI. And this really digs in deep into the SAP subsystem. So from a central point, you can kind of see everything that's going on in your SAP system, which is critical. You know, when you've got mobile systems pumping in transactions, how those are balanced, managed, etc. Now we've exposed our REST services from SAP, I can consume them in MobileFabric. Here I am in the MobileFabric console, where I've defined my app data model, and now all I have to do is really map it to the back-end services. So I'll just go into my order execution application, go into the objects, and on the left-hand tab here, I've got my mobile app data model, and this is what I'll be mapping my services into. So if we go down here to our work order that we've defined before, I've got all my fields, all my relationships, etc. And this is on the mobile side, so you're actually pulling in services from all sorts of backends. Here we're specifically looking at SAP. So I can then go into my, I've got my work order, I can go into my mappings. And here you can simply see I've got my fields here that are mapped to the service and where it's coming from. And this is kind of like a one-to-one mapping, but of course you can do transformations, orchestrations, all of that sort of stuff that you would expect here. So the beauty of this is I've got an abstracted mobile data model, and into that pretty much mapping in all my back-end services, and those could come from SAP, from Salesforce, from other web service that have been exposed from other systems as well. Okay, so I hope that gives you an idea, a basic kind of context around the Kony MobileFabric SAP Business Suite integration. It is very deep, it works very well. We have a lot of enterprises across field service, employee self-service applications, supply chain using this technology. Thanks for watching.